All right, let's talk some Kyler Murray. I've been very impressed with him through 2 weeks in this season, and it hasn't been all good either. I mean, he's definitely, he's become a gunslinger, right? He's taking chances, and they haven't all worked out. They really haven't, and some of them have been really, bad turnovers. But again, at least up until this point, the good has by far outweighed the bad, and that's what you're hoping for. Even if every quarterback has some negative stuff, it's about the good that you do. So I would say I've been impressed with him through 2 weeks. Again, he will have to clean a little bit of this stuff up, I think, but you don't want to take it all out either, because that's kind of part of what's made him so good and put him in the MVP discussion through 2 weeks. I know some people say MVP, it's only 2 weeks. I love talking MVP. I think, talk about it whenever. I think there's never too early to talk about it, just sort of as a discussion point. It doesn't mean that you think that Kyler's going to win after 2 weeks, because that's a different conversation. That would be too early to tell. So, let's start off with this play. This is kind of a great example, just right off the bat, of what Kyler is doing. Not even like this is what he's doing well or this is what he's doing poorly. This is just what he's doing throughout the game, and it kind of is both what he's doing well and poorly on the same play. It's a cover 3 zone, and you have DeAndre Hopkins running a route that could get into this gap in coverage. So it's a play that on paper makes sense to look towards. And watch how right when this play starts, so there's a gap. It's not a huge gap. Like, there is definitely a Minnesota player who could run over and knock it away. And if he gets a good enough read on it, or if the throw isn't fast enough, this could be a pick. Like, that's absolutely a thing that could happen. It also could be a catch. And Kyler is basically just saying, I'm going to take all these chances, and some of them aren't going to work out, but I'm just going to trust that the good will outweigh the bad, and to this point it has. Watch. You see Kyler bulleting in there. It was nearly knocked away. Definitely, again, a dangerous pass, but Kyler Murray, he's playing dangerous, right? That's that gunslinger mentality. Hey, you maybe have to be a gunslinger to win the West, right? This is what Kyler has clearly made an effort to start doing more, is take those chances. And this is a small example, but it kind of builds into the bigger examples. Like, this one is a great example of that gunslinger mentality. So to set the stage, this is a 3rd down and long right here. They have to get the ball all the way to the 16-yard line. They're currently standing on their 32-yard line. So a lot of yards you have to get here. And the Vikings are playing essentially a prevent defense. It's cover 2, but it's basically just pushed like 10 yards back than what you would typically have happen. So they're just making sure that they, cover that line of scrimmage. They're okay with giving up 7 yards here. The Cardinals are already in field goal range, even though it's a long one here, but they're basically saying, those extra 6 yards, we'll take that. Just don't give up the first. You do have Christian Kirk, who's running a route that's going to, as you see, kind of just get a little bit underneath that the middle linebacker's zone of coverage, kind of just get just underneath there. And the hope is that when he gets underneath, he can still get to the first down marker. That's what you're hoping for if you're a Cardinals fan. And so Kyler takes this snap, and it's going to kind of work right there. There definitely is an opening for this to be a throw that's made and you get the first down. But again, this is tough, right? You have not only 54 for Minnesota who could potentially get into play, you have another linebacker who could run over and get into the play. So this is going to have to be he's going to have to bullet it in there for sure if he wants to take this chance. But that's what he does. It's a good throw, and they do pick up the first down right there. So again, this is what I mean when I say the good outweighs the bad. Is this something you recommend to a lot of guys? No, but not everyone can make the throws that Kyler can make, so that's why you don't recommend it to them. Like, yeah, Josh Rosen throws a pick here. That's why Josh Rosen doesn't take that chance. Let's be honest, Josh Rosen, probably takes a sack there, but that's, don't know why I'm coming at Josh Rosen all of a sudden. Let's move on to the next play. All right, so the Kyler haters are going to want to hear me talk about this play. This was his pick 6. He had 2 interceptions, and one of them wasn't entirely his fault. Like, I don't know if it would have worked or not. It was a little bit risky, but we've seen him pull off risky plays. But then he got face masked. It wasn't called. Ends up getting picked. So I can't really put too much blame on him for the other one. This one he definitely deserves blame for. But in a weird way, I'm not sure if this is the gunslinger mentality or if he just misread the coverage. Because It appears as though it's a cover 1 play right here. You have a safety going up against a wide receiver, so even though it's Harrison Smith, a very good safety, it's still a favorable matchup, especially with the disguise that the Vikings are running here, where they're faking as though it's going to be like a cover 2 or something instead of a man coverage play. And so, like, watch, right when this play starts, so you see that on this play, a linebacker does drop back into coverage and is directly underneath where Kyler wants to make this throw to, right? I mean, he's standing right in the way. This is the throw that he shouldn't make. Now, Harrison Smith is way far off, so that's what Kyler sees. My guess is he just never saw this linebacker. I'm not exactly sure why, because it looks like he has a lane to look towards. I think some people would immediately point towards, oh, well, it's because he's not that tall, can't see over the line, and that does happen even to tall quarterbacks, so that's possible, but I don't think that's the case. I think he just, for whatever reason, just missed him. I don't know why, but he just didn't see him. So I don't know if this is the gunslinger thing, because I think that if Kyler saw this whole play, I don't think he takes this chance. So I think this was just a poor read by him. So he throws it directly into the chest of a linebacker who takes it all the way for a touchdown. Not a great play, clearly, but it's a mistake. I mean, like, it is what it is. We're evaluating how good the quarterback is. Some quarterbacks are going to make mistakes. Kyler made a mistake. Those ones are always tricky. Linebacker interceptions can give everyone trouble, right? And we've seen a lot of young quarterbacks have trouble with that. In fact, we've basically seen every young quarterback this week have trouble with that. So Kyler is basically just so good that I think we forget how young he is. He's going to make some mistakes. It's going to happen. All right, now let's talk about just a couple of just insane positives. Let's get off the gunslinger stuff and just talk about kind of some unique stuff about Kyler. This is just, I'm only going to break down one play of this, but again, there's a dozen of these already this season of just like, how in the world are you doing this? So it's zone coverage, and the concept you see to the right, you don't have to pay too much attention to it because nothing's going to get open right off the bat. So like, watch, right when this play starts, Kyler looks over and, wherever he's looking towards his right, none of that is open. There actually is something open towards his left, but that's just not where he was taking his first read to. It's hard to get over there in time. So it is what it is. Typically on this play, you can see quarterbacks get sacked right here, although the line is doing a pretty good job of, creating a pocket for Kyler to, be in. It's actually kind of weird because it's almost like Kyler is surrounded by Vikings, but none of them are about to tackle him. So what should Kyler do? Also, Kyler, one of those guys where you call him by his first name, not his last name. Just notice that. But anyways, what should he do on this play? There's a couple things you could do. If you're Zach Wilson, you would fire it in there anyways and probably throw an interception. If you're, I think a lesser, like maybe a Kirk Cousins, you probably throw the ball away here or try to get to your second read. But Kyler, again, know your own skill set. Kyler obviously is maybe the best scrambling quarterback in football. It's him or Lamar. Lamar's probably better on design runs, where Murray's probably better on like these, scramble stuff. But I like what he's going to do here. He's just going to say, I'm going to not even look downfield. I'm going to try to get out of the pocket and then look downfield. Watch him completely turn his back, look over at the lineman, figure out where he is, and then fires. Eventually, time got open for a receiver to get open. DeAndre Hopkins, he's a hard guy to cover for 2 seconds. You can't cover him for 5. And so when Kyler can get outside the pocket, it basically just gives you an extra play for the receivers to try and get open. So what's impressive about that, to me, isn't necessarily that he got outside the pocket. We know he can do that. But how he legitimately just said, okay, where's the defensive lineman? Got it. I'll go this way. That little second he took the look, I think makes all the difference, and that can stop you from running directly into sacks. And now I want to break down this one. So it's going to be a zone coverage play. This is that big Rondale Moore touchdown. I kind of just want to break it down so you guys can understand what's going on, because there's probably a good amount of confusion here. So it's going to be cover 3 zone, and this play concept basically worked as intended. It just worked a lot better than intended. So you have first, the receiver all the way towards the bottom of the screen, also known as the number 1 receiver, is DeAndre Hopkins on this play. He's going to be running a route that will try to take away the deep corner in that side of the ball, which, again, with DeAndre Hopkins, he's definitely going to take him away. Hopkins makes a great decoy. The number 3 receiver, so the one closest to the offensive line, to Kyler's left, he's going to run a deep route over the middle, which is going to try and get the safety to sort of follow him. Then you have Rondale Moore, who's in between them, basically run in between them, and hopefully no Minnesota player picks him up. Typically what's going to happen is that a safety or linebacker who's over the middle of the field makes this read and stays deep with Moore. That's typically what happens. But even then, it's a mismatch. You have a safety or a linebacker on Moore. However, right when this play starts, either no one picked it up or, there was just a blown coverage. Regardless, this now leads for Moore to be completely wide open right here. So, and by the way, what I mean is either no one picked him up because they just didn't read the play properly, or they just didn't realize whose assignment it was on that. Either way, it's a blown coverage, but that's what I mean. Looked to me like that was on Mackenzie Alexander, who is a corner, but he was the third defensive back on that play. Regardless, Moore is completely wide open. Also, if you look over back at Murray, he is completely scrambling. Now I'm calling him Murray all of a sudden. Maybe he's one of those guys who you call either Kyler or Murray. Anyways, he's under pressure, but he sees that Rondale Moore is completely open. Kyler continues scrambling, eventually is able to get the ball over to Rondale Moore, who picks it up, gets a nice block from Christian Kirk right here. I also love how Moore is so excited, and Christian Kirk is kind of like, yeah, whatever. Like, yeah, okay, we got a big touchdown. Like, no big deal. Like, come on, Christian Kirk. You give the guy some love right there. He's playing in his second game, gets a ridiculously long, 75-plus yard touchdown, and you're just kind of standing there. But yeah, as a whole, kind of more of a blown coverage from Minnesota more than anything. But that also goes to show what Kyler's legs can do for a team. There was a unblocked blitzer on that play, which kind of, helped things work out better. I actually put the wrong, kind of messed up the graphic a little bit because it's a cover 3 blitz. I just wrote it as if it was a regular cover 3 zone, but regardless, it's still the same idea, and that might have been why there was that miscommunication, because of the blitz kind of confused Alexander perhaps. So yeah, I mean, Kyler has been just a blast to watch so far through 2 weeks. Can it continue? I think so. I think it can. Now, I think he'll probably have a game or two where he just looks awful and throws like 3 picks. I think that'll probably happen. But I think for the most part, he'll probably be pretty good. And I think it's possible he could like throw 3 picks and still win a football game because of all the positives he's bringing to the table as well. So yeah, it's interesting. This offseason, I evaluated Kyler as a tier 3 quarterback because I thought that he did a lot well, but there were some issues in his game. And at this point, I think he's clearly shown that he's either a tier 2 or tier 1 quarterback. Tier 1 being the elite tier, the Tom Brady's, the Russell Wilson's, the, Aaron Rodgers, Patrick Mahomes, that stuff. And yes, I have Brady in there. I believe in that. Tier 2 is kind of the Derek Carr, Ryan Tannehill tier. To me, Kyler is clearly in that tier. The question is, has he done enough to put himself in tier 1? And we'll have to wait and see. But he's been a blast to watch through 2 weeks. So what do you guys think in the comments below? Let me know your thoughts on Kyler. Always love hearing from you. And of course, as always, thanks for watching.